You're backed by arguably one of the greatest of all time, right?
What are we rating ourselves on? What are we rating on?
Okay.
Well, we're gonna know. In the least amount of fights, I didn't have to have 70 fights or 150 fights, 300 fights. Did I not beat the most world champions?
Yes, you did.
Okay. And in the least amount of fights?
Yes, you did.
Who got the highest gate?
Floyd Mayweather.
Who made the most money?
You did.
Who was the most accurate fighter of all time?
You were.
So it's basically saying that...
The greatest of all time.
Okay.
All right.
When Terence "Bud" Crawford confidently said he would stop Floyd Mayweather even more easily than he stopped Errol Spence Jr., the boxing world exploded with reactions. But the strongest response came from Mayweather himself, who clearly wasn't pleased with the bold claim.
Who do you think wins in a fight, you or Prime Floyd?
Me.
No questions?
Why would you think that I would say Floyd? That's one of my favorite fighters. But yeah, nah.
Just hours after the comment went viral, Floyd Mayweather fired back on social media in his usual calm and calculated way. But reports say he was furious behind closed doors because this was different from the usual comparisons. As Terence "Bud" Crawford didn't just say he could compete with him, he claimed he would actually stop him. For Floyd, this wasn't only about pride. It was about protecting a legacy he built over decades and facing the reality that a new generation might be ready to take over. The moment that sparked everything happened on a major boxing podcast shortly after Crawford's historic win over Canelo Alvarez, when he was asked how a fight between him and Floyd in their prime would play out, and instead of avoiding the question, Crawford smiled and boldly said he would stop Floyd even easier than he stopped Errol Spence Jr., adding that while Floyd is great, he believes he's greater. And that single sentence instantly shook the boxing world, sending fans into debate mode, and pushing Crawford versus Floyd and GOAT discussion hashtags to trend worldwide within minutes.
So if he was pound for pound, Floyd was pound for pound. You or Floyd, who would have done that? Who would have won that?
Me.
Oh, shit, okay, I'm just asking. Floyd was pound for pound before.
That would have been a hard fucking fight, though.
Man, me versus anybody, I'm going to always say me.
Okay.
Come on now.
What really caught people off guard wasn't only Crawford's confidence, but how believable it felt. When you think about his career and remember how he completely outclassed Errol Spence and took away Canelo Alvarez's strengths with smart strategy, it's obvious he's not dreaming or exaggerating. Crawford is sharp, focused, and always thinking ahead, and that's what makes his confidence so convincing.
You could take a guy like Canelo, this guy could do, he can pick and choose who he want to fight. And I'm going to tell y'all the truth about Canelo. Easy, man. Easy. Y'all sitting up here, y'all praising this dude. This dude was nothing. I was almost 40 years old when I cooked this dude. Easy. Y'all always disrespecting our fighters.
Live, only on DAZN, June 28th. Jake Paul versus Chavez Jr. Buy now at DAZN.com/boxing.
Here's the reality. Floyd Mayweather has spent his retirement years trying to stay in control of the spotlight, using exhibitions, interviews, and bold headlines to keep attention centered on himself. But in 2025, that influence doesn't feel as strong as it once did. While Floyd is stepping into the ring with Mike Tyson in what many see as more of a throwback event than a serious contest, Terence Crawford is focused on achieving meaningful milestones and strengthening his legacy in a way that feels real and lasting.
Who do you think's better out of those two, Crawford or Mayweather?
I think Crawford is better, bigger. He's actually he moved in weight class, and I would say Crawford is a better fight all around fighter. Mayweather's really good too, though. You can knock him as well. He's very talented. It would have been a tough fight, but I think Crawford would have the edge over Mayweather because of the long arms and because he's bigger. You know what I'm saying? And he would have kept him at bay. It would have been hard for Mayweather to counter, maybe. But Mayweather's definitely a technician. I mean, like Crawford said, Mayweather has his era, and Crawford, this is his era.
Crawford isn't fighting for money. He's fighting to be remembered as one of the best. And that's exactly what frustrates Floyd Mayweather the most.
And I'm going to get a lot of too, but honestly, there could be the way where you put Crawford over Mayweather. Because of going up, you didn't see Mayweather go up from 147 to 168. That's crazy, bro. And honestly, I thought Crawford was going to have more of a hard time because he had a hard time with Madronov. So imagine going up to it. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, but I don't want to take nothing away from Mayweather. Mayweather is the greatest of all time. But I think that was a really big risk that Crawford took, and then he ended up winning. You know what I mean? So you have to give credit to that too. I mean, that's a big risk. That'd be like me going up and fighting Usyk right now, heavyweight.
I know that's been kind of hinted.
I'm not thinking of that right now. I'm not thinking of that right now. No, but that's kind of like how that'd be. You know what I mean? So you have to, bro. That's a lot of. He has a lot of balls to do that. And not only to go do that to show the world that he's really like that.
For years, people said Floyd Mayweather built his career on smart timing, choosing fights carefully, avoiding risks, and making the most money, and they weren't wrong. He's a master strategist in and out of the ring, but that success always carried an asterisk. In contrast, Terence Crawford is doing the opposite, taking on top opponents, moving up weight classes, embracing challenges Floyd avoided, and now he's calling Floyd out not for attention, but to prove real credibility.
Terence Crawford is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this 4-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds, claiming all the belts. You don't see people doing that very often. Going up against a guy who was perceived as being bigger and stronger, Crawford was strong. Crawford was strong enough to fend him off, strong enough to make him respect his own power. He used his jab, he used his distance. He had poise in the ring, he wasn't rattled. He backed up and moved when necessary and kept us different. He exchanged enough to gain respect when necessary. It was a brilliant, masterful fight on Terence Crawford's part.
Here's the twist. Insiders say Floyd Mayweather feels disrespected, not by what was said, but by who said it. Floyd discovered and guided Gervonta Davis, shaping his career and building a legacy of loyalty, but Crawford never needed Floyd. He never trained under him, never signed with him, never followed his system, yet he rose to superstardom entirely on his own, achieving something only a few fighters in history have managed.
I beat this guy, it's his excuse, I beat this guy, you know, he's too young or whatever. So I'm never really going to give my full respect until afterwards. Yes, you know, it's a lot of people that's changing their narrative. Like, man, y'all watching something great right now, and we not appreciating it. And it's sad to say that we waking up at the tail end of his career. You know, we really didn't realize it until now when he's like doing extraordinary stuff, like going up 2 weight classes to fight the best fighter in that division, the #1 guy that's the face of boxing, you know. And the way that I handled that, people like, oh man, something had to be wrong. Canelo had to be washed, or Canelo just wasn't in it. I see people saying, oh, Turkey paid for Canelo to lose, you know. So I just think, you know, when you that much better than the competition, you know, people not going to give you credit until they sit down and look at it and just be like, man, that dude was good.
Floyd feels threatened because Crawford is showing the same independence he once had, but without the political games. A promoter explained that Floyd sees himself in Crawford, but with none of the control he once held. Crawford is following Floyd's path, and that's exactly what unsettles him. Floyd doesn't like being compared to someone trying to do what he did. He wants to remain the one no one can copy.
At the end of the day, I'll let you know, there's no fighter that will ever be better than me. There's no fighter that wasn't better than me before me or after me or when I'm long gone. I'm the best.
Crawford isn't copying Floyd. He's creating his own path and rewriting the playbook entirely.
Where does he rank now, all time, ending this interview?
#1, and the only one that he got at top is Floyd. You know what I'm saying? Terence Crawford's this generation guy. You know what I'm saying? Accomplishing all the goals that he accomplished.
Matched up? How do they match up, Floyd and Terence?
Hey, I'm like this, man. It's going to be great because Floyd, he's about his work. He put in work. We've been watching it for decades. You know what I'm saying? Him coming out of retirement to do this fight, that's a win for the whole world boxing. Every generation from Floyd's generation to this generation didn't get to see it come. That's just like we never get to see Michael Jordan play, right? But we remember when he used to play. Come on. So.
Now let's get into why this debate splits so many fans. Floyd Mayweather was the most unbeatable fighter of his era. He hardly lost a round, never mind a fight, and his defensive skills made even the toughest punchers look ordinary. Crawford, on the other hand, brings a completely different style. He welcomes the pressure and then takes full control of it. He's not focused on just scoring points. He's focused on wearing you down and finishing the job.
In the world of comparisons that we live in right now, if you can, compare and contrast the fight between yourself and Floyd Mayweather Jr. and tonight's bout with Terence "Bud" Crawford, if you can.
No, I think Crawford is way better than Floyd Mayweather.
When he stepped into the ring with Errol Spence, most people were ready for an all-out battle. What they saw instead was a flawless performance built on smart, precise aggression. Crawford took him apart round by round, scored 3 knockdowns, and closed the show with calm, clinical precision.
I didn't expect that the fight will be like that, but I thought it will finish 12 rounds. But Crawford he did a good job.
Is Crawford time for time number one? Time for time number one?
I think so. Pretty much. I don't think.
Did you feel like they need a rematch, Manny, after what you saw tonight?
I don't know. I don't know if there's a rematch.
That's all we gotta go.
It's kind of a one-sided fight.
Does this fight make Terence Crawford an all-time great in your eyes?
Well, he's still in his career, so he's prime in his career. So we'll see. We'll see the journey of his life.
That's the type of statement performance Floyd never really produced against elite fighters. Yes, he outclassed Canelo, but that was a young version of him who hadn't fully developed yet. Crawford, on the other hand, moved up 2 weight classes and still handled top-level competition without hesitation. That's why many modern analysts are now openly saying it. Terence Crawford might actually surpass Floyd Mayweather in overall ability. Even boxing legends are split on it. Roy Jones Jr. put it clearly. If you're comparing pure skill, Floyd looked more polished, but when it comes to total control and dominance, Crawford is showing something rare that we haven't seen before.
Because when you mention great fighters, right? 90% of your great fighters are black, the ones from the past. Now, with the Eastern Bloc coming on like they are, there's going to be some great ones coming on now. Even with Lil Tony, as you see it, these guys are going to be great. They're going to start eclipsing and be coming up there too. But right now, if you had to name 5 of the best fighters of all time, 4 of them are going to be black. You understand me? Who did he beat that was black in his prime, that was in their prime, that was on his level? Nobody.
And Max Kellerman summed it up in the simplest way possible. Floyd stepped into the ring to stay in control and secure the win, while Crawford fights to make a statement and chase greatness. That's what separates them.
It's wild, because like if you look at Floyd's resume, it's much deeper than Crawford's. And Floyd was faster and he had a better defense and all that stuff. But Floyd picked and chose when he fought guys, especially once he left lightweight. He wiped out the junior lights, bring him. Lightweight, he jumps up to Jose Luis Castillo first thing. A lot of people think he lost the first fight, I didn't, but then he won the rematch. But once he left lightweight, he was careful about when he fought guys. So even though his resume is deeper with names, people remember, but he didn't want it with certain dudes at certain times. Crawford, we all witnessed, even though the resume is thin in certain ways, he wanted it with everyone the whole time. Yes. That makes a difference to people.
Crawford did amazing. He a legend, man. 3-time undisputed. You got to take his hat up to him. He went up 2 weight classes and dominated a legend, so my hat goes up to him and he's all respect.
Do you think Canelo is the same guy that he was before? He think he's completely fallen off?
Canelo's Canelo, you know what I mean? Canelo's a legend, bro. You gotta, at the end of the day, whatever happened that fight, that don't diminish his career, his image. You feel me? I think right now, he's at that time where he took an L, but he ain't take an L, you know what I'm saying? He got paid and he a legend at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? So if he want to walk over in the sunset right now, his name, his last name is in the cement. You know what I'm saying? As one of the greatest Mexican fighters in the world.
I know it sounds a little bit crazy, but Crawford does have all the titles. You're a really big name. He's kind of in your way right now, a little bit. Is that a fight where you're just like, if him get it on for sure?
Not for sure. Definitely, you know what I'm saying? We don't duck no smoke. But, right now, I'm focused on my comeback fight. You know what I'm saying? I got to put my head down, whatever happened in my last fight is through. But, that ain't dim my light at all. You know what I'm saying? I'm still a superstar. I'm still a star. I'm still the king of New York, man. I'm fly. I look good. I fight good, man. So, I'm just...
At the same time, Floyd's reaction has been all about protecting his resume. He points to his 50-0 record, the massive paydays, the pay-per-view numbers, and the empire he built outside the ring. Crawford isn't focused on stats or money like that. He's chasing a lasting legacy. That's why this feels like a changing of the guard, even if Floyd won't admit it. Mayweather's time was built on staying perfect and avoiding mistakes. Crawford's time is about pushing limits and raising the level of the sport. Floyd stayed unbeaten because he didn't take risks he didn't need to take. If Crawford ever loses, it will likely be because he dared to go all in.
And I beat him, but we both been out there, they say he's over the hill. But then when Pacquiao fights him, they say, oh, this is the greatest thing we ever seen. So then when I fight Hatton, they say I'm too big for Hatton, but then they say...
No, nobody said that. You got full credit for both of those wins, Floyd. That's why you became a superstar.
No, I did not.
Yes,
no,
you
I
did.
did not. No,
sure
I did
you
not.
did. From
are
me,
you gonna,
I gave you full credit. If you're talking to me now, I gave you full credit for that.
Am I going to speak my piece or not? Am I going to speak my piece or not?
Go ahead.
Okay, because you want to interview me. I ain't interviewing you. You want to talk to me. I don't worry about talking.
Floyd,
you want to talk to me.
Go ahead. I'm waiting on you.
So then when I fight Hatton, they said, oh, Mayweather is too big for Hatton. But then Marquez and Pacquiao can fight, it's no problem. But now, but I'm too big for Marquez. I'm too big for Marquez, but I'm not too big for Pacquiao. Which one is it?
Well,
which one is it?
Which one is it?
Which one is it?
It's that Pacquiao was 130 pounds and he keeps moving out and whacking guys who are much bigger. He gets full credit.
That's the line between being an icon and becoming a legend, and Floyd understands it, which is why he's back in interviews talking about younger fighters chasing attention and reminding everyone about his undefeated record, massive earnings, and business success. Because when the debate turns to true greatness, it's not a comfortable place for him. Time moves on, and no one can stop what's next. There's already talk that he may sit down for another big interview to defend his name, likely highlighting his 50-0 record and financial achievements again, but that won't slow the momentum behind Terence Crawford, because fans have already shifted the story in their minds. They don't see Crawford chasing Mayweather anymore, they see him stepping into his place. The image of modern boxing is changing from Floyd's confident smile under the bright lights to Crawford's focused stare holding championship belts. And in a way, Floyd helped create this moment by setting the bar so high that Crawford had something to aim at and surpass. Floyd deserves full respect for transforming the sport, building a business empire, defeating the biggest names of his time, and earning more than any fighter before him. But Crawford is redefining what greatness means. He's not just unbeaten, he's become undisputed champion 3 separate times, and he's chasing history, not headlines. So when Floyd says there are levels to this, he might be right, but the levels may have shifted, because what once felt like the peak of greatness now looks like the starting point for Crawford.
We had a lot of comparisons between Terence Crawford and Floyd Mayweather. We've even had the conversation to go as far as who would win in the fight between Terence and Floyd. And I truly don't know the answer to that question.
I do.
You do?
Yes.
Yeah. Who will win that fight?
Floyd.
Floyd will win that fight.
Yes, sir. I love you, Terence.
Always figures it out.
Yeah, he's a chess master.
Yeah, his IQ and that
The
shit
funny
is
thing
crazy.
about it is Terence has been the only other guy that people can say he always figures it out.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, that's true.
But you gotta have an OG somewhere.
Anybody else? Yeah.
There's an OG
Somebody
somewhere.
got to pioneer it, right? Yeah, you got to.
There's an OG you can't outfigure out somewhere, and I just believe Floyd is that OG you can't outfigure out.
Now all eyes are on what comes next. Crawford has made it clear he doesn't plan to fight much longer, with only a few bouts left before he calls it a career. Possible matchups include a showdown with Jaron Boots Ennis, a potential rematch with Canelo Alvarez, or even a move up to 160 pounds to chase one last world title before walking away.
As his trainer, do you feel like he should just sail off into the sunset after this monumental
Well,
win?
you know what? They made it look so easy. You know what I'm saying? Got 2-3 more in him. You know what I'm saying? Training camp will try harder. You know what I'm saying?
You think a move to 160 would make sense?
I mean, if you want to do it, you know, it'd be a challenge. If you want to challenge yourself, yeah, I don't mind.
Every decision he makes now only strengthens his argument, because this has grown beyond a simple debate. It feels like a shift in control. It's the ruler of the past era facing the leader of the present one. One carefully guarded his legacy and made sure it stayed untouched, while the other built his by stepping into tough moments and taking risks. One focused on leaving the sport wealthy, the other is focused on leaving it unforgettable.
You before the fight, the Crawford-Canelo fight, and you had a Cavs hat on. This time you've got a GOAT hat on. Is that how you're feeling? I know it says Muhammad Ali, but is that how you're feeling about Bud's performance, about his whole career?
Yeah, I'm definitely feeling that way, man. Go. Greatest of all time, man. You gotta give it to him. You gotta give it to him. You gotta give it to his coaches. Not just me, Saul Red, Bernie, Chet,
nutritionist, everybody played a part.
Canelo said he's way better than Mayweather. What do you think to that?
Who, Terence?
Yeah.
Oh, of course. Of course he is.
And in the end, maybe that's what bothers Floyd the most. The fighter who could hypothetically beat him doesn't have to prove anything, because he already has. So, fight fans, what's your take? Was Floyd's reaction justified, or did Crawford make it clear that the crown has quietly changed hands? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more straight-up boxing talk. I'll see you in the next video.